Hello everyone and welcome back to the latest in the award-winning OnBase series. I'm your host, Paul Gibson. With everyone in B2B fighting for improved metrics in 2025, I'm really excited that today I'm talking with Shimon Ben Ayoun, co-founder and managing director at one of our partners and a leading B2B agency, Spot On Vision. And the subject has got quite a big title today. It's Bridging Short-Term Wins and Long-Term Growth, and then thinking about ABM, AI, and the future of B2B marketing. Shimon, we've been partnering with Spot On Vision for some time, and I've known you for years. So I'm really excited to get into this with you. Thanks very much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for the invitation, Paul. Excited to be here.
Excellent. So we got an interesting, very relevant topic, but let's start with, I suppose, a simple question, Shimon. Can you walk us through your journey to where you are today? What led you into a career in B2B marketing? And how and why you ended up focusing specifically on ABM?
Okay, great. Yeah. So, as you know, Paul, I'm originally from Israel. I've been, since my young years, I always loved to experiment with sales, with selling stuff to people. And the other thing I really liked is developing relationships with people and bringing people together. So when I came to Holland, and it was actually the place where I did my studies, international business and marketing, I actually had like different routes where I can launch my career. And obviously it was not directly into ABM, but I did start out in sales, not in marketing. I worked for different, back then it was information security companies. Now it's more cyber security. Well, I did a lot in helping the different companies in indirect sales. So managing channel partners, building global networks of partners and specializing there. So the company that I used to work for was taken over by a bigger firm. And we had more partners, more opportunities. And but at a certain point, information security back then was not so hot. It was more like an insurance policy that you need to buy. So it's more the devils that you need to spend your budget on. And I wanted to look for another challenge. So I actually bumped into an video server technology company, Scale Up. And was also in a role of responsible for marketing and sales. And I was always more on the sales side of things, trying to hit my target, as you know, working with partners and the go-to-market channels. And when I actually moved into this role, it was more like, okay, now I'm not only responsible for sales, I'm also responsible for marketing. And even though I had a really good marketing manager on my team, I still had all these frustrations you hear from sales about marketing, like, okay, where are the qualified leads? And why aren't we getting into the relevant or the right accounts that we want? How we can actually get our partners to more leads, etc. So at this point, I realized I'm really frustrated by that. I've never really actually done marketing myself. I studied it and it was, easy when you study it, but I didn't realize why it was so hard, right? And so I told my marketing manager back then, look, for the next month, I'm going to be your full-time colleague. So I want to sit next to you and I really want to understand what's going on. And that is actually, honestly, my first deep dive into marketing, into B2B marketing. And it really opened my eyes. I realized that marketing is way more than just preparing for an event or creating a brochure back then. And I thought, often there is a big gap between marketing and sales because, sales does not know what marketing is all about usually. So at this point, I really liked the fact that, and I really saw these opportunities with marketing. Back then, the whole social media was booming and the content and a lot of things were changing in B2B. And I said to myself, if I'm struggling with this, there must be a bunch of B2B companies out there that are struggling too. And that's why I decided to start my own agency, Spot on Vision, together with my business partner, Ingrid Archer, who was actually also a marketing director at another company. And she felt the same frustrations, working also with other agencies that saying that they are in B2B, but actually they didn't understand much of B2B. And we said, okay, let's help B2B organization to do better marketing, but also better align marketing and sales to focus on what really matters, the customer, and how do we create impact with marketing and sales on the right accounts. And that later on in the process, when ABM became, the thing that we are doing, it was such a natural focus for me because it's all about, first of all, bringing sales and marketing together, and about, focusing on the same challenges or the same goals. So it's not just activity, but it's about, strategic approach. So actually, ABM was actually the answer to the problem that I originally personally experienced as a head of sales.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think having a background in sales and marketing gives you a unique perspective. And we spend a lot of time. I mean, I talk to a lot of people who say, "Oh, ABM, that's just some marketing play, and it's not for us," type thing. When I talk to sales leaders, I think the reality is the B2B sales and marketing world should all be focused on just those companies that you can actually sell to, and any time, budget, and resource spent anywhere else makes no sense to the business. And that it really sums up what ABM really stands for.
Yeah, exactly.
So, from your perspective, was there a particular moment that shaped your personal perspective or strategies as a marketing leader?
Well, yeah, there were actually definitely many moments that shape and I'm not young anymore, but there were a lot of situations. But to be really honest, Paul, what shaped my perspective, it was not really about marketing tactics or sales strategy. It was more about people. I spent a lot of time working closely with heads of marketing and CMOs in B2B. And what I've learned is the biggest bottlenecks to great marketing is often not the marketing itself or the technology that you're using. It's about the relationships and communication between people. So many times, I've seen when sales and marketing are not aligned or the leadership team is not on the same page and people don't know what's happening and then things falling apart. So no matter how good is the strategy or your content or the campaigns are, things will not work. And it becomes a change management communication issue, not just a marketing issue in a traditional sense, right? So that's why I realized that, approach that, when I start engagement with a new company, I'm always paying attention to the human side first, because a lot of it has to do with that. Are people aligned? Are they speaking the same language? Is there a trust between sales and marketing? Do they know each other all quite good? Because if you don't fix it, all the ABM programs or whatever campaigns you come in the world will not help you to get the result that you want. So for me, marketing leadership is much more about also building relationship and alignment than it is about creating the campaigns. And I think that's something we don't always talk in B2B, or not enough at least. And I think that's something really, really that's opened my eyes. Say, okay, this is something that we really need to pay attention to.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And we speak to lots of post-sale teams who actually get fed up that their sales team are closing deals that they can't deliver value to, and they end up churning and they get the blame for it. And I think having that account-based approach where you're focusing on the right companies, not just that you can sell to, that you want to sell to, make a big difference. So we hear a lot, and I'm sure you do as well, Shimon, around businesses trying to balance the short-term wins with their longer-term growth strategies. And I think account-based is a really good way of doing that. But can you expand on that for us?
Yeah, so this is something that we are seeing almost at any customers, and it's a really good question because honestly, balancing short term and long term is always a challenge, and it's something we talk a lot about with our customers. One of the things we always say when you're running an ABM program, you have to design it with an element of what we call it quick wins, especially to keep sales team engaged and motivated, right? So if you focus only on your long-term plans and you know that you need to do a lot of research, you know that you need to create content, you need to create campaigns, you need to set up your ABM platform, it always takes time, right? And if it takes time, we all know salespeople are really focused on what is this quarter. And so they lose interest actually in your program. And so when we help companies with ABM, we always make sure that part of the strategy deliver early results. Yeah. And it could be very short, like it could be like very targeted, very specific social selling tactics, right? Like getting the sales, the relationship, or getting sales in contact with specific people that they want to in the short term. What we do is also helping them to see, okay, what do you have now in the pipeline? And can we apply some deal-based marketing strategies in the short term to help you close more opportunities or move stuck opportunities using personalized content or personalized outreach to the specific people you are dealing with? And sometimes it could be even providing them with deep account insights that helps them, to deliver more value on the conversations that they're already having. So those quick things that actually should not take you a long time in marketing, but can help sales see, hey, things happening. I see marketing is really moving stuff for me in the short term. And at the same time, ABM allows you to build those longer term relationship with the right account. We all know sales cycles are going longer. You need to focus on a relationship. You need to create the trust. You need to create the branding. So you're not just chasing the deals for this quarter. You need to build pipeline for the future, right? And without those early wins, the program won't get the internal buy-in that people want. So it's about designing ABM in the way that serves both goals, giving sales something tangible in the short term while nurturing long-term growth and getting the right insights and the right campaigns to do something that is more focused on the relationship. And when you get this right balance, and that's when ABM gets really, really powerful. It's aligning sales and marketing around those shared goals. Show them that you care about their short-term goals, but also creating something for future success, right?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And I think, I've been in sales for over 100 years now, so I get the struggles associated with it. But one of the things is you go through the B2C world of we just want more leads. And I think one of the things that this approach really does, it makes sales understand that their close rates might be difficult at the moment, but that's because what they've been chasing are really poor fit leads.
Yeah.
If we can start putting in quality rather than quantity, and sales start to see that, it's obviously an education, right? But they start to see that actually what I'm getting now is quality that I can close. They are in market, they understand our brand, and we're a good fit. Their close rates go up. The amount that they sell them for goes up. The time to close reduces. So I think you're right. I think ABM has a marketing view because it's got the word M or the letter M in it. The ABX and GTM and all the other things come out. The reality is marketing are there for helping sales put better quality deals into the pipeline that they can close better and faster. So I think that is really important.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just even showing the interest, right? I mean, marketeers are used to really focus on their operational stuff and the campaign and the call. So they forget that they need really to sit down with sales and say, hey, let's look at your accounts. Let's look at your opportunities. How can I really help you move something forward, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, brilliant. And so when we're talking about sales, I think we probably all agree that the buying behavior has changed quite dramatically over the last 12, 18 months. So How, based on that, do you see sales role changing, if you like, within the GTM strategies we're all talking about?
Well, I think it will change. It has been changing, and it will change dramatically going forward. I think, firstly, recognizing that most of the journey is happening without sales, right? I mean, we talk about generation change, right? I mean, we're moving from millennials to Gen Z. According to recent research, is that more than 65% of the buyers in the buying committee are now millennials, right? And they are used to do a lot of research on their own. At the time they talk to sales rep, they're already well informed, right? Because they talk to other sales. I think Forrester is launching a new concept called the buying networks, where people are actually looking around on social media, on different platforms like G2 and the likes, and they exchange a lot of information between them, right? So when they speak to sales, they are really well informed. And so it means that the sales cannot just show up at the end of the pitch. They have to be really involved much, much, much earlier as a part of a broader strategy that includes, of course, marketing. And when they are earlier, they means that sales role is changing to be more consultative, right? They need to be more consultative. They need to understand really the top of the line, like what are the problems that they're trying to solve? What is their issues, the day-to-day issues, the challenges, what they're trying to solve, right? And so it means also that, we know the rules, right? The 95-5 rule, right? That it says at any given time, only about 5% of your market is actively in the buying mode, right? And the 95% are actually what we call the future cash flow, because they will buy it sometime, but not now. So it's also changed how sales operate, right? Because right now they're only chasing the 5% they're ready to buy now, which is great because those are the hot opportunities. But sales and marketing need together to have a strategy how to deal with the other 95% that will be ready. And when they're ready, they need to come to you, right? So, and I think this is where one of the strengths of the solution Demandbase offers, right? Like intent data is super powerful, and it's not only powerful for sales, it's also very powerful or not for marketing, but also for sales, right? Because if you know who are in the market right now, you can prioritize. Where is my sales efforts goes? Can I do it smarter instead? Because let's be honest, the cold outreach does not work anymore. We see the numbers are dropping by any means. Also cold emails, cold LinkedIn, cold calling. So it's not relevant anymore. So you need really to understand the buyer, get the relevant data from platforms like Demandbase, right? Like who is in the market right now, and focus there in a smart selling position based on where they are. So it means that actually shifting the buyer behavior means that sales needs to be evolved from being just a deal closer to relationship builders and actually trusted advisors, right? You need to have this consultative role. You need to understand more about their business. You need to understand more about their challenges. And basically, they must have the help from marketing and the tools like the ABM and intent data to guide them to the right account with the right message at the right moment. And companies that get it will see that they will win more than others. And I think this is a big opportunity for sales to make finally strategic use of the marketing teams and not look at them just as event organizers. And for marketing to finally get into the real opportunities, the real deals, and help sales to close faster.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I think that insight piece is often overlooked. If you don't know who's in market, how do you know where to focus? And then your strategy is really cross your fingers and hope.
Exactly.
I think the other thing that really helps is aligning it to the business's buyer journeys. Is it too early for us to engage sales? We can see there's some buying signals go on there. At the moment, they've never engaged with our brand, don't really know us. It's way too early to give it to an SDR or sales to open up.
Yeah.
Let's get marketing warming them up, getting them confidence and trust in the brand. And when the time is right, then we'll hand it over to the SDRs and sales. And once the sales and SDRs start seeing that motion, again, they have the confidence that, okay, they're now passing us an opportunity that is warmed up, and it's a much better way to do it. So,
yeah, but I think it's not only about passing the opportunity, and I think it's also we are at Spot Vision. We are very insight led. We understand that actually, if you don't have the right insights and the right research, you will never be super personalized or super relevant to your customers at the same time, right? So sales in the new role will need more than just, the opportunity, but they need backup on the research, backup on the insights, backup on understanding the dynamics in the accounts, the dynamic in the buying committee, to be really able to go there and move the needles as needed.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So just switching slightly, because I don't think I've had a conversation in the last 18 months that hasn't involved AI. So AI is one of those massively relevant topics, and it's here to stay. It's not going away. So how best do you think ABM and AI can combine to tackle some of those challenges we've been talking around for sales and marketing teams?
I think it's super important. I think AI will change the way we do things in marketing, right? And I think there are a few areas where I think it will be more important than others. But in ABM, of course, we have, if you look, let's start with the generation change, right? The generation we talk about now is millennials, that they have certain wishes, how they want to be approached by vendors, right? Don't call me, I will call you. So they need to know, okay, when do we need to call? Only write to me emails or content that is personalized for me. Okay, so then we need to super personalize. All those type of things, really, really important to make sure that we know, how to use AI or how AI can help us. I had a philosophical conversation the other day and saying, okay, what happened if all the companies will not have buying committee anymore, and they will only, assign AI agents to find solutions to the problem and find the companies they want to speak with? What's the role of marketing and sales there, right? So that's maybe the looking far back or in the future, that I believe that is a possibility that we should take into consideration, right? Like that it might be that the role will change and we will never have these conversations anymore with the buying committee. But for now, I think one thing is that personalization, that was actually one of the reasons that ABM one-to-many never really took off, because people want to have like scalable approach to personalize, scalable approach to have, more than just the email subject personalized. They want to have personalized everything, to personalize everything. So I think, the power of AI is coming when you can do a lot of things without you doing it. So personalize your content in real time, getting the insights, and based on the insights and betting on what happened in the company, personalize the content, personalize the campaign, and send it, I think agentic AI is going to be very strong in actually helping us to do more with less. I also think that AI will bring also a lot of improvement on intent data, right? So how do we get intent data to help us more accurately, less false alarms, and actually helping us also to make the first quick reach outs based on specific signals. And I think, Paul, one of the main things that I would love to see, and I think it's already happening, is on the area of AI and data, is that a lot of our customers in B2B, when you look typical B2B, if you look at their data, it's quite a mess. And if AI can take this mess and structure it, or even do things with unstructured data, that will be already a big plus, right? And I think data is in everything we do. So if they can make sense of the data, even if it's not structured like, the typical engines are using it today, then it will help to accomplish much more in B2B.
Yeah, I agree. And you're probably aware, but Demandbase just launched AgentBase, which is our own version of these AI agents, and the philosophy really is anything that's time consuming and manual, let's make it easy, and AI can do that. And I think that's going to be game changer. The scary thing is, Shimon, is when AI agents from the platforms talk to the AI agents of the customers, and they don't need people like you or I in between anymore.
Exactly.
Then we can go and sit on the beach, so it won't be a complete disaster.
Yeah, exactly.
So as we dig deeper into some of the approaches, what sorts of strategies do you think can help align sales and marketing more effectively than maybe they do today?
Yeah, so there is, it's probably, if you look at aligning sales and marketing, is probably one of the biggest challenges within B2B, but also the biggest opportunities. I would like to look at opportunities, right? And honestly, without that alignment, no ABM, demand generation, technology will help companies, right? So at Spot On Vision, we focus on a few key strategies to make that alignment stronger and ongoing, right? First of all, what we saw is that in the past, when we came to companies and start helping them, they would do a lot of ideation, a lot of the planning, a lot of things without involving sales. And we were like, okay, you are actually doing a lot of strategic things, strategic planning, strategic ideas, and you don't involve sales, that will not work. So actually, the first thing we do is always saying, okay, before we start any engagement, let's sit together with head of marketing and head of sales and start with joint planning, right? And that was like when we start bringing people, talk about, okay, which accounts matter most? What are the goals? How success will be measured between us? It's also building a shared view of what good looks like, right? Instead of marketing working on one thing, sales on the other things, and in the end, they are not talking to each other. So before we launch any program, we create a shared account list, shared process, shared personas. We're developing a lot of personas, which are good to align also, okay, what challenges, what priorities are we solving for our buyers? And the shared KPIs, of course. I know it sounds basics, but it's often missing in quite few B2B organizations. So this is one. I think second is that Spot On Vision, we put a lot of efforts to make sure that everything what we do with the customers is insights-led, right? This is big part of our uniqueness at Spot On Vision. So we bring customers and account insights to the table, and both marketing and sales with the same time. So what they see, what customer really cares about. So when sales hears that, hey, marketing has a real actionable insights about what topics accounts are engaging with, what buying signals they are showing, what challenges they have, what struggles do they feel, that builds trust, right? And it also makes marketing more relevant in the eyes of sales. So you don't really just focus on doing things that producing content, but you're bringing insights that they can really use in the daily life. And I think the third is also we believe in continuous improvement and continuous collaboration. So not just one-time alignment from the start and that's it. No, we set up regular check-ins, what we call ABM stand-up. So where sales and marketing look at the key accounts together and said, okay, what's working, what we're hearing from the market, what is changing, how do we need to adjust? So it becomes more a live process and not just a static campaign, right? And I think last but not least, we also encourage marketing to do a lot of communication, internal communication, during their campaigns, during their programs, to inform sales, both sales that participate in the program and sales that do not participate in the program, keeping them engaged. You need to look at them as your customers, and customers needs to stay engaged. So when they see things happening, when they see program, when they see even the very small wins, they're still getting the belief, hey, we can make use of it. We need to do that. And that's actually what building the trust. And of course, you also need to invest time on doing fun things together. That's also part of the deal, right? Like going for a drink together, doing fun things together. That's how you build a relationship at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's massive. And I think you talked about, marketing staying engaged. It's not just a one-off thing. They stay engaged throughout the approach. And that's really important because most of the time when we're on podcasts like this, we're talking about demand gen, if you like, those first sales. But this strategy and tactic is just as important for existing customers.
Yes.
That insight to let you know that, actually, they're interested in something else we can cross-sell to maybe, or upsell, or more importantly, a red flag. They're talking to the competition. We need to be aware of this. Otherwise, it could put us at risk at renewal. That's something important. So although primarily we talk about it as a new business thing, this really is just as important. And I would say from a demand-based perspective, probably 50% of our clients spend as much time utilizing our technologies for renewing and retaining and upselling existing customers. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, but that's still, the ongoing conversation is super important, because that's how do you create the habits in your team. And the habits is for continuous growth and continuous, how do we deal with challenges? How are we going about it together as a team?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Shimon, there's an exciting Spot on Vision-led event being held in the Netherlands in April. And I'm pleased Demandbase, we're sponsoring the event. It's really exciting. So what inspired the launch of the event, which is called the European ABM Forum? And how do you envision it helping to shape the conversation around ABM, IA, and the future of B2B marketing?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm really excited. But the inspiration behind launching the forum goes back to our roots at Spot on Vision. And already in 2010, we started with the B2B marketing forum, but it was more an activity in the Netherlands, sort of local community where we're bringing people together, inspire them, connect them, get them to learn from each other. And actually sharing knowledge and real life stories is what drive our industry forward, right? And what we see now in the last years that account-based marketing is really starting to gain traction in Europe. And we notice that people are searching for places to learn, to share experience, get inspired, hear about case studies, etc. And there was not really like a European focus event on ABM. So for us in B2B, in Spot on Vision, we always think the human connection has always been so crucial to learn from each other. So we felt it was our time to actually get the B2B marketing forum to something more European. And that's where we reached to our friends in the B2B marketing in the UK, who are actually, of course, very active in B2B marketing for years. And they have also a very successful event in the UK on ABM. And they said, what if we join forces, create a truly European event on ABM and AI? Those are the two things that are gaining traction in market. And that's how the European ABM Forum was born, right? So our shared belief that actually collaboration. It's not that we see each other as competitors. We are collaborators. And and we both have the same goal, is that to drive the B2B marketing community forward. So and I'm super proud of what we built. We pulled together an amazing lineup of European ABM leaders from some of the top B2B companies like T-Systems, Autodesk, Roche, Salesforce, and we got people that really do the work in ABM and all the experience, all the struggles, or not just people who talk about it. And of course, one thing that is really important to complete this ecosystem is having great partners. And I'm really grateful for Demandbase. We've been such a key player in moving the ABM industry forward in Europe. And of course, you're going to support this event as well.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. I think it'd be a great event. And any listeners that haven't registered for it, there's still time. And if you didn't, I'm sure this is the first of many of these events that will be going on. And between Demandbase and Spot on Vision, we'll keep everyone in the loop and make sure that you're aware of it for the future.
Yes.
So AI, just touching back on that one quickly, because it does come up a lot. Are you yourself using AI in your day-to-day? And if so, can you share us maybe a good use case?
Yeah, so actually, I am definitely a fan of AI. I'm using it a lot. I have to say that myself, I'm still doing a lot of sales for the agency. And so I have to say that AI helped me to do more in my time that I have. By one thing is that, first of all, gaining the insights on who we should target. So I'm looking constantly at both first-party data, so who visited our websites and et cetera, getting the insights, but also the intents and which companies are now searching for help on ABM or B2B marketing. During meetings, I'm always making a conversation notes, or actually I used to do conversation notes. Now I'm recording it, converting it using AI. And actually what I'm doing with it is collecting all those conversations, documenting them. And actually, when I'm looking to create a new targeting with the marketing, we actually take all those conversations and actually creating a sort of processing engine that help us to understand better who are our best ICPs. So we can actually, we are a small company, so we need to be very targeted, and we need to be very also to take our budget of paid budget very carefully. So using this, all those conversations that we put together and create an ICP, a very targeted ICP, it helps us to target less companies, but companies that have a more probability of converting with us. So that's how we're also preparing a lot of content using AI. So many times I'm actually using AI to summarize conversation and create short blog posts. We are using a lot of AI for creating videos for promotion online. I'm also using a lot of AI to process data for SEO and SEA purposes. So, so quite a lot, actually. And my colleagues, of course, have different uses because they're doing more of the campaigns. But we took on ourselves because, we actually, in the marketing agency business and consultancy, a sort of combination. But we see that actually in the next years, a lot of the business will be taken by AI. So, for example, we used to do a lot of buyer personas for customers. And right now we actually adjusted to do like a hybrid form with qualitative research plus synthetic research using AI. And if we would not have done it, I know that a lot of business would have gone already because people are searching now, getting a lot of insights using different AI tooling. So we need to be very careful and also be ahead of the curve in order to keep our business and keep us relevant in the changing world of AI and B2B.
Yeah, absolutely. Some good examples there. And it's interesting. I speak to lots of people who say that, when they're exploring for stuff, they don't bother looking at search through Google and things like that now. They just go on to chat GPT or wherever it is and what's the best solution to this. And I think there's a trick that maybe is being missed at the moment, but is definitely being worked on by some parties of how do we identify and track that traffic? Because that is potentially game changing. So lots of examples, and I'm sure we just scratched the surface there. And actually, I think this topic as well, we've had a really good conversation, and I think we've just started the conversation. So I think there's definitely an opportunity for further podcasts and series with you, Shimon. So hopefully we'll look at that next time. We normally finish with a couple of generic questions, if that's okay. Mm-hmm. So firstly, what tools, technology would you specifically recommend to our listeners?
That's a very tricky question, but honestly, not because you're here, I think Demandbase has changed the way our customers doing business and of course the results. So I would not say too much about it, but I hope that you guys take the opportunity to find out more how Demandbase and their intent data, the targeted advertising engines could help you generate more results. I think another technology that is actually getting traction now, and of course ABM is about what you see out there, but also a lot of it has to do what's happening on your website, right? This is your first party data. And we started to work with a company called Demon that actually does, on the one hand, getting the insights, and the other hand, does a real-time personalization so that you can, on one hand, target your accounts with more personalized content on your site. And the nice thing about it, most of it, and I know that was a big hurdle, most of it is done now by AI engines, so you don't have to do much. And I think all those technologies that helps you as a marketeer to take some, hard work from you and to operationalize it with AI will gain traction. I know back then was the marketing automation when I was just one of the first marketing automation agencies in the area, is that it was a bit of deception because marketing automation was about, it's not really automation, it's a lot of work before it gets a little bit of automation. And I think now we get it to the other side, that's a little bit of work and you get a lot of automation with AI. So I'm always looking at tooling that are easy to adapt.
Yeah, and we know Demandbase well. We actually partner with them as well because we can give them all that anonymous insight of the people coming in, and that just takes their platform to another level. So yeah, really good technology that is. Yeah. You sound like someone who consumes lots of content, Shimon. So is there a book, a blog, newsletter, or something like that you'd recommend to the listeners?
Yeah, actually, I'm still reading books. I know that my kids call me, you're a boomer with all your readings. But there are two books that I would like to share, and they are not actually about marketing. Because I still think that a lot of what's happening in marketing is about mindset. And I think one of the greatest book about is by Carol Dweck. And it's about, how to shift from fixed mindset to growth mindset. And in my experience, a lot of challenge between teams come down to mindset. And if people are open to learning from each other, open to receiving feedback, open to collaborate and learn together, you see that alignment happening, and then things are starting to work out in a better way. So mindset is one of my favorite topics. By the way, a great speaker going to be at the event called, I don't know if you saw Paul by Jamil Qureshi is actually also...
He's fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, he's called a performance psychologist, but it's all about mindset. So this is one book I really, really, really love. And the second thing has to do also with a very important topic. I guess that a lot of speakers recommend this book. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. But I think one thing about it is that I really am a strong believer in creating habits. I have my morning habits, I have my evening habits, and it works really well for me. And I think, for people in companies, they, when you work together and you have something that you want to improve, you need to create regular habits, right? Things that to come back. And that's why we talked about, best practice marketing and sales, create a habit of continuous learning, of getting together and start with small, get together for 10 minutes or just a huddle and then build it up. And I think Atomic Habits gives some good practical tips how to create this habit to improve your own things, right? But also think about it in a team perspective. It can help teams as well.
Awesome. Yeah, really good recommendations. Thank you. And it's a cheeky ask, this one. You've been an awesome guest. Could you share the name of an inspirational person in the B2B space that you recommend we should also bring on the show?
Yeah. Yeah, I actually had 3 people in my list. One is actually, of course, Ingrid Archer, my business partner. She's not only my business partner, but she's actually shaping a lot of B2B marketing. She writes a lot. She does a lot of work with customers. She set up our academy, and she's a really big on the customer-centric marketing, really. Second one is that and really practical and very interesting guy called Ryan Almond. He spoke at the ABM conference last year. I think he also won the B2B Marketeer of the Year last year. And what I really appreciate about him is that how he took, from a large, complex B2B organization, how we transformed, how we implemented ABM in the right way, and also how he's using AI already, such an early stage in such a complex organization. And I think the third person that's maybe good to mention is Joel Harrison, who is actually, the founder of the B2B marketing in the UK. He created a lot of content, a lot of connection and shared a lot of best practices, brought a lot of people together. So I really appreciate him. So I hope that gives you a little bit of material.
Yeah, all 3 are good recommendations. I know them all, and I it's bad that we haven't had them on yet. So I'll get the team working on that for sure. Shimon, this has been a great session. Lasting question, really. If people are interested and want to find out more from you, how is it best for them to get in touch with you after the podcast?
I think LinkedIn is the best way. I'm very active on LinkedIn, so you can look at my profile, Shimon Ben Ayoun, and they will find me. Brilliant.
Well, that was a fantastic session, Shimon. Thanks so much for your time. I hope everyone listening has enjoyed this episode. And don't forget, there are over 500 other episodes in the series. Make sure to check them out. Thanks for listening. Until next time, everyone. Cheerio.